welcome back to Dead Wives and Kids with Knives, a nuanced discussion of the literary works of Stephen King. I am Cody Lindenberger.
And I'm Jill Gillespie. Hello.
Today we are discussing Carrie, Stephen King's first published novel.
Ooh.
And also one of his shortest.
It was a great month.
Yeah. Did you like Carrie?
I did. There is a theme so far with the two Stephen King books I've read so far. He likes to insert lots of things that also happened before or after the events of the story itself. And so I have conversation about that upcoming, but there's, like, it was already short, and then half the book wasn't even Carrie.
Yeah,
it was other
people
stuff.
reacting to the story of Carrie.
Yes.
Through fake news sources and congressional hearings and,
yes.
and magazine articles and books that the people in Carrie have written about Carrie.
Yes.
Because Carrie itself takes place over like 3 days.
That was going to be like my first question about it, was like, how long, because it seems like everything happened very quickly, which we will go into detail about, but okay, that's...
Yeah, it's like a week.
Yeah.
It's like 5 days.
Then I have a lot more notes to write in a different section of things we're going to talk about too, so.
First of all, do we want to play our game? Describe a book poorly?
Yes, so the improv game, describe a movie poorly, or in our case, describe a story poorly. We give the prompt, Carrie is a story about blank, and then we come up with some sort of punchline to finish that sentence, so.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say Carrie is a book about a poorly installed fire suppression system.
Carrie is a story about how no matter how many superpowers you have, you're still going to get your period.
Carrie is a book about the dangers of religion.
Carrie is a story about how you can easily procure pig's blood.
Carrie is about how important it is to have a father in the home.
Carrie is a story about how whatever your worst case scenario imaginings are in your head, reality is going to be so much worse.
Carrie is a story about how hard it is to date when you're 16.
I don't have any more good ones yet.
All right, good. That's enough. So Carrie, do we want to just describe the plot of the book first? Just talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Because it is pretty quick.
Yeah, so I kind of, as I was reading it, I call it like framing, I guess, the literary device of having like an external story.
Yeah, I think the definition is liturgical. Is what it's called when you're using those extraneous sort of things to pop in there, but yeah.
Yeah, and so it started with a frame story of the, I think I wrote the title of it, the studying about telekinesis one. I can't remember what it was. The shadow exploded. So we already know off the bat that the story is over. when the book starts, we know the story has happened. There is a book that has been written about it where they are telling the story of a woman who has a final telekinetic explosion and the emotional stress and the things that happened in her life that got to that point. And then we flash back to the actual story of Carrie at school, and I also watched the Sissy Spacek John Travolta.
John Travolta's first major film. He had been on Welcome Back, Kotter at that point, which is why he gets second billing in the movie, even though he does not have a major role in it.
Gotcha. So I watched that. So now I'm playing that game where like what
Try
actually
to
happened.
What's in the book and what's in the movie, yeah.
But I believe the shower scene is first in both.
Yeah,
of
and everything,
them,
the movies and the book, it all starts with the shower scene. That is the sort of the inciting incident of what brings her powers to the forefront.
Yeah. And so what we learn about Carrie in the shower scene, so she's 16, she's at a school,
she's ostracized by her peers.
Still has to be in gym class. And they all shower together still. So
it's the 70s.
Yeah. And so what we learn that she is weird and and ostracized, and when she's taking her shower, she gets her period in the shower and does not know what it is. So this is her first period, and she...
Well, I think it's like 5th period in the book.
It's her first menstruation. And so she starts having a meltdown and is like, help, I'm dying, I'm bleeding, and she's trying to get people to help her, and she's just bleeding naked in the shower room. And instead of anybody helping, they decide it will be really funny to throw sanitary pads at her and just make fun of her for it. And so just off the bat, we know she's pretty sheltered, and she did not get her first period till she was 16.
The way he describes it in the book, though, is it kind of becomes like a group hysteria thing, where like the girls are kind of reacting to her kind of having this hysteric moment. They kind of almost become hysteric themselves, and it turns into them just doing the plug it up chant sort of thing, and they kind of get swept up in it. Like, you're getting a lot of it from Sue Snell's perspective.
Yes.
Where she is almost like, in spite of her wanting to help Carrie, she finds herself also participating with the other ones. Chris Hargensen is sort of the main mean girl who's like who is leading the charge of, let's just bully this girl who's clearly having a real bad day right now.
Yeah, so the two main names you'll need to remember are Sue, so Carrie, obviously, and then Sue and Chris.
And then Miss Desjardins is the gym teacher who ends up coming in and breaking everything up, and Carrie like grabs at her and leaves her bloody handprint on her skirt, and Miss Desjardins has to slap her to snap her out of it, and when she does that, the light fixture blows apart, and nobody reacts to that at all.
No.
They're just oh no, terrible electric wiring in here.
Yeah, so that's the first indication of
something's unusual here.
Something's unusual, and it's not just that Carrie
is 16 years old having her first period.
Yeah, like that. And so, but so it goes unaddressed, and then she goes.
They go to the assistant principal's office. She's like, Carrie needs to go home. Carrie's, this all happened, and the principal, he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then she's like, we need to do something about all these girls. They were really mean. They were, and he's like, you go handle it. I don't want to get involved with this.
And she's like, oh, I'll handle it.
And the principal, you can also get the feeling like he doesn't want to get involved because he does not want to deal with Carrie's mom.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because Carrie's mom is a handful.
Yes. And then does she go home right after that?
Yeah, Carrie goes home after that.
And then we get to meet Mom. And then we are very aware of why Carrie is how she is.
Yeah. Mom in the book is described, she's a big woman. He says she has arms like ham hocks, She's dressed all in black. She works at the factory. And she's a religious zealot.
And I'm trying to, I'm not a religious person, and so her specific babble, I don't know if it's Catholic, it's reminiscent of Catholicism, because she's like having a corpse, just being in a body, a corporeal form is a sin. It's very like everything is a sin.
Carrie's father, we find out later, had met like in like a religious sect, like almost a cult-like organization, and decided that like they were too progressive, like they weren't taking it far enough, and they left that, and they were just like doing their own religion at that point. And then they were sleeping in a bed together, but they were not being physical with each other. And then from Carrie's mom's perspective, he like forced himself on her despite her protests, and then left because he was like ashamed of himself. And that's how Carrie came to be.
Okay. Yes.
So the house is just filled with religious iconography. There's descriptions of all these paintings of just like the worst parts of the Bible, just the most violent parts of the Bible. There's the closet that Carrie gets put into as punishment anytime she has any sort of like thought of wanting to be a normal teenage girl. Mom's like, nope, that's a sin.
Yeah.
You're a monster. Go into your closet.
Yeah.
Locks her in there for hours at a time. Describes her like being locked in there for days, which is like piss and shit herself in there basically because her mom won't let her out. What a great home.
I know. But there's something of her mom too that like slowly reveals itself too, is that she will also self-harm when anything bad happens too, and so that also escalates as all of this is escalating too, and it's.
And we're also getting through the newspaper articles and the book that you're cutting back and forth to. We're getting flashbacks or information about things that have happened in the past, and there's two major incidents there. There's Carrie's birth, where she birthed by herself. We find out, and like a neighbor called the police because they heard like screaming or something.
Oh, the mom birthed by herself. I thought,
Yeah.
I'm like, and Carrie came out all by herself. She just walked on out. Okay.
And then there's the stone incident. When Carrie was 3 years old, she walked over to her neighbor's house, and her neighbor was sunbathing topless.
No, her boobs slipped out of her top.
Yeah, okay. And 3-year-old Carrie's like, what's that? And the neighbor's like, that's a breast, you know. Women have them, you're going to have them. And then her mom comes over and is like, no!
They're dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows is
And
the word.
she like slaps Carrie, grabs her by the arm, pulls her into the house, and the neighbor describes hearing her yelling at this 3-year-old daughter about being a sinful whore. And then these giant stones just start falling out of the sky, crashing through the house, and like the dining room table comes flying out of the window. Just like the rains of God being brought down upon this home.
Yeah, this one specific home that people
Nothing
witnessed.
outside of the yard.
Yeah.
You get like all the neighbors just like gathered around watching like the sky fall down on this house.
Yeah.
And then I guess she filed an insurance claim and they fixed it or something.
I mean, I assume all Stephen King books are just going to be something that somebody can sue somebody about.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
is what is happening. So.
But then the other thing that's happening at this point is that back at the school, Miss Desjardins has taken upon herself to get all these girls together and be like, you guys were awful.
Yes, shitty. It was
Yeah.
a shitty thing
It's a
you
shitty
did.
thing you did here. So as punishment, you're all going to be in detention with me. You're going to run laps. You're going to do all this. And Chris, you're not going to prom. You're being suspended. And Chris is like, my dad's a lawyer. I'm going to sue you. And you get the scene in the book where the dad comes and talks to the assistant principal and is like, you know, you can't do this. The teacher slapped my daughter. I want her fired. I want Chris to go to the prom. And the principal, you know, he actually stands up for Carrie. He's like, well, your
Yes.
daughter did this, and that's assault. And so if you want to sue me, we'll sue her, and we'll do this all in
Yes.
court, and this is going to take years.
Yeah, it's a very interesting line that is in this book. You went through it so fast, but this is like the part I want to talk
All
about.
right.
So which is not in the movie at all. So we learn that Chris's dad is a lawyer. So she gets away with a lot because, you know, dad can just come and fix everything.
He's like the
or
biggest lawyer in town.
Yeah. And so the principal also has his, so he comes in, he's like, well, the teacher did this and this and this and this, and this is, you know, assault and abuse and all the things. And then, yeah, and so the principal, he comes out with his file of all the things they did to Carrie. He's like, do you want me to sue you for this? And then they were just kind of like staring at each other. But then it also kind of revealed in the book too that Carrie, the way that they describe Carrie, because she was a product of her mom, she was kind of mean to everybody too, because she thought everybody was sinners too, because her mom thought everybody was sinners. And it made me think of that episode of 30 Rock where they flash back to how Liz was actually the bully in school.
Yeah, Carrie's been like ostracizing herself essentially in the book.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, there's like everybody's a villain in this book. Like it's like you feel bad because being, you know, bullied at school is awful. Like nobody should be bullied, but everybody is terrible and like gets their turn to be like reprimanded for something terrible that they're doing. I mean, bullying is not an answer. You know, conversations and you know, nice, you know, having pizza together, whatever. But it's just, it's hard to call Carrie blameless unless you call her blameless because she's the product of, like, she didn't, you know, her mom, but she also is mean too, but in more of a like she's a victim speaking up. Yeah, she's kind of way, but
product of the environment she's been raised in.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's horrible, is my understanding.
Except for Miss Desjardins.
Right.
She's the only person here who has like
that takes Chris, slams her up a lot, slaps her. She's the good person.
She has good motives.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I was really happy that the principal stood up for her and was ready to go to bat for Carrie. And was also disappointed that wasn't in the book. They merged, in the movie, they merged. I was reading that they merged the principal and Miss Desjardins together. That's why
and they don't call her Miss
Collins.
Desjardins in the book either. Yeah.
So Miss Collins is a conglomerate of the principal.
So I also
teacher.
watched the 2013 Carrie, and they do include that scene in the 2013 version.
Okay, good.
And it was good. It was a fun scene to watch.
Yeah.
And Judy Greer plays Miss Desjardins. They do call her Miss Desjardins in that one. And she has a lot of fun because they put her in the office also. So she gets to be in there being all like snide and Judy Greerish, you know.
Yeah.
The role she was born to play.
Yep. Yep.
So you've got Carrie, who is excused from gym for the rest of the week. You've got all the other girls who are being punished, you know. And you've got Sue, who feels really bad.
Yes.
Sue has had time to reflect, and we get Sue's perspective. The book jumps back and forth between like Sue and Chris and Carrie a lot. You're getting all their like.
So we know Sue ultimately survives whatever has happened.
Because she's written a book.
Yeah, she's written a book. We also are learning too that the whole town was decimated, and so there weren't that like many survivors from it. So the fact that Sue like. We're seeing her book and her...
And she's like testifying before Congress at one point. We're getting that testimony there as well.
Yeah, so we know she survives,
Yeah.
but that's all we know so far.
And so then we start meeting some of the boys. We meet Billy and Tommy.
So Tommy in the book is not at all how I imagine Tommy in the movie, who is like... smiley hippie in the movie, but in the book I saw more like football player kid.
He's the head jock. He's the archetypal like quarterback. Yeah, and in the movie he's this skinny blonde guy. He's just
like really smiley, long curly hair, like just like somebody I would probably actually like.
Yeah.
You know.
And in the 2013 movie he's played by Ansel Elgort. It's his first major movie. The Fault in Our Stars.
Like I know the book,
Baby
but I don't.
Driver. He's Baby Driver in Baby Driver. Jill's seen 4 movies 50 times.
Yes, we talked about it last
Anyways,
episode.
Ansel Elgort is also a tall, thin, smiley kid who does not look like the quarterback on a football team.
So maybe I just missed something in the description of him in the book?
No, in the book he's definitely described as like a very jockish character.
And in the movie, so Tommy is Sue's boyfriend. And in the movie, there's a scene where, and I don't know when Tommy reads his poem in class, and then Carrie likes it. I can't remember if that scene happened in the book or if it was just a way to get Carrie and Tommy to be in the same room together.
I don't think that's in the book, no.
You know, so there's this kind of, Tommy's nice, I think, is what we figure out, or he's not like, you know, the jock that we would assume of him, but
you do get a scene in the book where Sue and Tommy are in the car, and they've had sex a few times, we find out, and it hasn't been great.
Yes.
From Sue's perspective.
Yes.
Tommy's not that good.
Which honestly, the most honest writing that I've ever read in my entire existence. Yeah.
And then Sue tells Tommy, hey, I want you to ask Carrie White to go to prom. And he's like, why? And she explains, you know, how she feels about everything. And he's like, okay, if this is what you want, you know, I love you, so I'll do this for you. And then they have sex again. And we get Sue's perspective, and now she's feeling all these things she's never felt before. And again, this is the horny Stephen King as a writer, telling you how it feels to be a young girl having sex and feeling your first orgasm.
Yeah. Is that what that's supposed to feel like?
Yeah. Now that they have this true emotional connection, she can finally feel what it's truly like to be a woman.
Yeah. And he wasn't bullshitting her. He does end up asking Carrie to prom, and I'm trying to.
And then we meet Billy. Who's a real piece of shit.
So this is Chris's counterpoint. So the actual bully mean girl, and John Travolta.
Also not how he's described in the book.
No.
So Billy in the book is a greaser. He's like the mechanic guy. He's got the loud, fast car, the hot rod. And he's from the wrong side of town.
And he's a little bit older.
Yeah. He's like 20, like he's been held back a few times. And Chris is like the rich girl, you know. And so she's like dating this guy to get back at her dad or something, you know. And he keeps taking her to the Chamberlain, like the Roadhouse bar with the hotel attached to it. And that's where they have sex, you know, and it's like angry sex, you know, like rough sex. And we get that talked about also.
Yeah.
And she's like, she knows she's going to break up with him. She's like, he's doing anything she wants. Like, she's just leading this guy around on a chain.
And so, yeah. And so at the time, we know she like tells him how much she hates Carrie. And he also hates Carrie, but I didn't know if he independently hated her or if he just decided he hated her.
I think he just hates her because Chris hates her.
Yeah, because he turns in to a piece of work. From that point on, you just think he's just kind of a lackey or whatever, but he like takes the lead on finding his cronies and like leading them to what happens later. So yeah, so we're meeting all the characters still. I think that's everybody that was important.
Yeah.
And then intersplicing with the things that happen. So it's a lot of cutting back and forth. So I tried to like write down like the main like events that actually happened in it. And so oh no, I can't even read my notes. It looks like Fook the basket, but that's not a word. Oh my gosh. B asked Carrie to prom. Okay, so we did that. So we just need to.
So you get in the book when he asks her, you know, Carrie's like, you know, I'm not a joke. Why are you doing this to me? And he's like, no, I'm sincerely asking you. And she like, almost in spite of herself, she says, okay, I'll go with you, you know. Because she does want to be accepted. She doesn't want to be like a regular kid, even though she knows her mom's going to hate that. Because she also, now that she has recognized that she has these abilities, she's been like working on them.
Yes.
We get all these scenes where she's in her bedroom and she's like lifting her brush up and down. And then she's lifting her book up and down. And then she's lifting her desk up and down. And then she's lifting her bed up and down. Like she's getting stronger. She's describing how like at first it gives her a headache, but then after a while that starts going away.
Yeah. In the movie, we don't see any of those scenes, but she goes to the library a lot. And so we see her just in general, just any time when it's time for her, another character to stumble upon her. She is at the library doing research, trying to understand her telekinetic abilities, but also you could use the library to find out about why your body is bleeding once a month.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of really cool things you can learn in the library.
There's a great moment in the 2013 movie where she's doing research on a computer and she's trying to read this.
So they modernized it?
Yeah, they modernized it.
Okay.
And she's trying to read this like page from something, and this kid comes by and he's like, you know, you could make that bigger. And he like shows her how to like expand like what, because she's like never used the computer before or something.
Oh, Carrie.
Yeah.
But being the library person that I am, as she's flipping through the card catalog, I'm like seeing the numbers and seeing the things, and a lot of the things she's looking at are in the 200s, in the Dewey Decimal System, which is the religious category. And so I feel like
she's looking to see like, am I going to hell for doing this?
Yeah, because it's interesting because I think she was actually supposed to be researching her telekinesis, I think is what she was doing, but I don't think that would be in the 200s. In my mind, it would be in the 100s, because that's all, like the supernatural stuff is in the 100s in the Dewey Decimal System.
Well,
but,
this is the 70s.
Yeah.
Maybe they considered it witchcraft back then.
Well, I mean, it's true. The Dewey Decimal System was created in the 1800s. But what's also interesting about, so two things. One of the things is one of the books in the card catalog is a fake book that's in another Stephen King book. I don't remember which one it was. I just saw that in the notes after the movie.
Maybe she was researching religious arguments to make against her mother. She was like preparing like a religious legal case to prepare to like ask to go to prom.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, I have evidence from the Bible of why I should be allowed to go to prom.
No, but I think if she thinks it's religious punishment, or if the system thinks it's religious, the telekinesis stuff, that would make sense to me. But interesting fact about the 200s, because the Dewey Decimal System, so Melville Dewey was later called out for being kind of racist, but you know, everybody was. You know, but the way that he structured like his categories, like every 100 level is a general topic of knowledge, and then every specific number within that 100 number is more specific information. The more digits that there is, the more specific is kind of what the topic is. But in the 200s, because it was so Anglo-Saxon, Western philosophy, it's like 200 is religion, and then like 220 through 280s are all related to Christianity, and then like 290s, etc. Like that's how the Dewey, like it's
Everything
so
else, yeah.
Yeah, it's so like that whole section is just different things about Christianity, and so you're like, huh. Yeah. So
White people.
Yeah. So anyway, so there have been a lot of changes in the Dewey Decimal System, like with revisions over time and things to make it more, or I should say less Western focused and racist, I guess, in general too. But anyway, I was very fascinated by that. And then the other segue, or not a segue, tangent. This is an actual tangent. This does not lead us anywhere else. I was reading an article about how libraries tend to be like safe spaces in horror, like movies and TV. That's
it's
like
such a trope in horror movies of just like halfway through you go to the library to try to research whatever the entity or the monster, the ghoul or whatever it is. Like, why is this happening? Has this happened before? Yeah, that's something.
And like the librarians are safe people, and like it's. I was very charmed by that, but also because we didn't have the internet. Yeah. Like we couldn't just look up answers on our phone or call each other or whatever. Like the library just had to be the place to go.
In my hometown, I grew up in a town of 1,000 people, and it was so small that our library, the back room was also our municipal courthouse. Nice. Like if you got like a speeding ticket, you want to contest it once a month. A lawyer/judge would just come and you just go to this back room and sit there.
So you could pick up your smut and then go back and just read while you wait. So anyway, so
that's like the first half of the book.
Yeah.
It's just all that setup.
Yes.
And it takes place, it's like 3 days.
Yep. And then Tommy does ask her to prom. She says yes, and then has to go talk to Mom about it. And so then it's a big showdown.
Boys only want one thing.
Yes.
Now that you're bleeding, that's what they want. They're gonna do to you what your daddy did to me.
And so there's that thing, and then her like, please, I just want to be a normal person. Yeah. Just let me do one normal thing that any other kid could do, please, for the love of all that's holy. Let me do this. And so she actually says no to her mom, and she's like, I'm going. And she
started to like get some agency for herself, and she still hasn't like shown her mom her powers yet. But her mom like kind of knows about them.
I mean, she has to.
Yeah, she's just not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the movie, she's doing stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she's throwing stuff at her mom. She's breaking mirrors. She's showing off.
Yeah. Which I was watching a documentary, so the DVD that I got had all these special features that had like the making of documentaries of things afterwards that I also watched, and they used a lot of they were trying to find sounds to like represent like when the telekinesis was happening and to like make it vocal or whatever, and they used the knife stabbing music from Psycho. Yeah. Just a lot of reep. They're like, it was the best music, so we just used it.
And I read that when Brian De Palma, the director, when he was trying to think of a sound for that, he thought of that on his own, and then he realized, oh wait, that is from Psycho, and he's like, that's fine, we'll still use it anyway. We'll call it an homage.
Yeah. Which then was like, I did not realize how old the Psycho movie was. When did that come out? Do you know?
Oh, that would be like late 50s.
Didn't even know they made movies back then.
It's a talkie.
Yeah. So there's the big showdown with Mom, and then more articles or court. So there's like a court transcription. There's the book, The Shadow Exploded, and then Sue's biography or whatever about the happenings of that are all like backfilling and offering information and foreshadowing and doing all the things for us while this is all happening. So they get to prom night, and you want
the night before prom, we get Billy putting his plan into action.
Oh yeah, ugh.
The drive
for
up
reasons,
to the farm.
for
The drive up to the farm.
Yeah, so
because the farmer's at a funeral.
So Billy's gone insane by this point. Like because Chris has nothing. So basically, what had happened is, so the gym teacher gave them all detention. Chris said, "I'm not going to go," and then she's like, "Okay, but if you don't go, you can't go to prom." Like that's how they did it. And so she just stopped going. And so they kicked her out of prom. And so she couldn't go to prom. So she wasn't getting ready and getting her dress made or whatever. And so she was just nowhere to be found. But she sends the boyfriend, John Travolta. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much.
He plays him so goofy.
He's so goofy. So
like when he's driving the car drinking his beer and then he looks over and sees the cop and like throws the beer at Chris.
Yeah, so like now I understand why he's Danny Zuko. Like that makes sense to me in my mind, but like he is not.
He's not Billy in the book.
He's not sinister enough.
So Chris is basically just like, I wish we could get back at Carrie White. And Billy's like, I have a plan.
Yeah, and so we kind of know famously that Carrie is the movie where the blood rains down on prom night, and so they had to procure.
You gotta get that from somewhere.
You gotta procure it from somewhere, and so the vegetarian.
This is before Amazon.
Yeah.
Like right now, if I wanted blood, I could have blood in 24 hours.
Yeah, and fake blood apparently wasn't an option.
Yeah.
But so the vegetarian in me did not appreciate the scene that followed, but they went out to the farm.
He gets two buddies with him. Three buddies, I think. They drive out to the farm. The farmer's at a funeral. They know this. Mm-hmm. They get into the pig pen. Mm-hmm. They hit it in the head with the hammer, slice its throat, get the blood into the bucket, and then they do a second pig.
And then there's a second pig. So which in my mind
apparently one pig isn't enough blood.
Yeah, because there ended up being two buckets, I think, because there was meant to be one for each of them, I think, in the book. Though we'll talk about that scene when we get there. But yeah, so that's like all happening. So they're going to take that to... So Chris has an inn at the school or behind scene or whatever, so they can do the rig and do all that stuff.
Well, Billy in the book, he breaks in.
Oh,
he has his tool that he made in Metal Shop.
Yes.
That he uses to jimmy a window open.
That's right.
And he gets into the gymnasium and he gets up into the rafters and he describes in great detail. It's like a Tom Clancy moment where like he's describing how he has made these like pulleys and hooks and everything, and he's installing them up there. And the buckets are frozen because he put them in a cooler on ice, so the blood's frozen, and he gets them in place up there. And he runs them outside.
Which, P.S., is super convenient. If I'm going to haul a bucket of fluid up to some rafters, having it be a frozen chunk that gets to melt after it's placed.
Billy's crafty. Billy's found his like moment. Like he's having one, and he runs the lines outside. Like it's outside the window.
And they're listening for the...
All they have to do is pull these strings, and the buckets are going to tip over and spill the blood out on them. And in his head, he's like, I don't care who this blood gets on. I just want to do this to someone. It could be Chris under this thing.
Yeah, because by then he's just like, my
he's
plan.
Just like, this is amazing. I'm incredible.
Yes, so he's just like in his own little like dream ego world at that point, where Chris doesn't even matter. I don't think they even matter to each other anymore.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Yeah. So then comes the night where Tommy is going to pick up Carrie, and it's I can't remember how intense, if it was intense at all in the movie, but in the book it was because he was running like 3 minutes late, and so...
And she's like, this is a trick, the whole thing's been a trick, he's not going to come here, Mama was right, I'm going to be stuck here with her the rest of my life, I'm going to have to go work with her at the factory. This is just going to be my life.
And she's just working herself up.
She can just hear Mom on her sewing machine in the other room, just sewing away, singing her hymnal.
Yeah, which P.S. Carrie did make her own prom dress, I think, or at least did
she
her
went
own
to the
flourishes.
store, bought the material, sewed it herself. It's red. Her mom in the book says, of course, it's red. It had to be red. I can see your dirty pillows.
Yes. She's just a cutout. It's backwards, Carrie. It's backwards.
I ran out of material, Mama.
But just on the note of prom stories in culture, in pop culture, it amazes me that they can ask somebody to prom the week of prom and get outfits together that fit and like are tailored and like corsages and show up and have dinners. I'm like, we had to do that shit like 5 months in advance. Like if somebody didn't ask you to prom by January, then you weren't going because there was no way that you could get reservations or get tailored or get anything done.
I owned a tuxedo in high school.
Oh, because of band?
Because of show choir. I was in the Notables, which was our high school show choir. All 4 years of high school, I was the first freshman to get in the show choir.
Yeah.
And so we had to wear tuxedos, so I never had to worry about that.
Cody was a gifted kid and really talented in music, apparently.
Started the jazz band in my high school.
I read books.
Our senior year, though, my friend White and I, we went to this vintage shop that opened in Hutchinson, and we got the ruffled, like, baby blue tuxedos like in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we wore to prom.
But you wouldn't be able to do that if somebody asked you to prom 3 days before prom,
No,
right?
not a bit.
That's my thing. Is
it was a simpler time.
Was it? She made a dress on a sewing machine.
This is the thing that also with Stephen King, he doesn't pay attention to details like that very much in his early books. Like later on, he hires this woman named Robin Firth, who's his research assistant, and she pays attention to the details to make sure that things make factual sense. Like if he's writing a book about like a doctor, they will actually have a real doctor like that they talk to give them advice to make sure that the medical descriptions are accurate and things like that. But young Stephen King did not pay attention to details.
I don't think anybody does, because every story I've seen that has a prom has
the way he originally wrote Carrie to end was she had devil horns grow out of her head and, per his description, pulled an airplane out of the sky thousands of miles away.
I love that.
Thousands of miles away.
I love that.
Space is 50 miles away. So for an airplane to be thousands of miles, it means like on the other side of the planet.
Was it just like in the same town, just left instead of right? Or if you just would have went that way around, it would have been closer.
Again, he's just making stuff up, and so his editor, the guy who he's like, let's be a little more subtle with the ending, Steve. You know.
And then that's the ending he chose too.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you getting ready for prom in 3 days.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So Tommy does show up 3 minutes after she has already started melting down. Everybody's melting. Every time anybody's in that house, somebody's having a meltdown about something. And so he whisks her away.
Yeah, I just feel like you're in that house, you hear just like this high-pitched whine.
Like when Tina Belcher's driving the car.
Yeah.
And
or like in the Dark Knight, like the entire time when they're in like the two ferries, with the bombs on them, just like the score there.
Yeah.
Just you open the door and that's the sound you hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go to prom, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like people are nice to her because she's finally being a normal teenager.
Right.
She's not being addicted.
She looks pretty. She
yeah,
did her hair.
People are complimenting her dress. Like, where'd you get this? She's like, I made it. They're like, you made a dress? Like, that's awesome.
Like, yeah. And like Tommy is a legitimately nice guy.
Yeah.
And
and that's when you kind of realize more of this. That like, Carrie has been responsible for a lot of the way that she feels on her own. Like the kids are just giving back what she's giving to them.
Yeah. And
in the movie, that's not the case. In the movie, she's just this girl who's being bullied by everyone.
Right.
And I kind of hate that in the book she wins prom queen. Her and Tommy. There's two ties in the voting.
Yeah, they have to do runoff elections and things.
And then her and Tommy win by one vote. And Carrie begs Tommy not to vote for them, and he's like, curse the devil or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And he votes for them, and they win by one vote. But they win legitimately.
Yes.
In both movies, there's this stupid kid
elaborate rigging
whose
system.
Girlfriend wears a stupid red hat the entire movie, who like forces this nerdy kid to let him be the guy who goes around and collects all the ballots. And they put in fake ballots. Donald Trump would have a conniption.
Right.
And they rig it so that Carrie and Tommy win prom queen and king, so that Chris's plan can work. There's co-conspirators involved now beyond just Billy and Chris.
But yeah, in the book it was legitimate. They were having a nice time, and so when the bucket happens at the end finally. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that happened during prom that is so okay. So there are allusions to Tommy like legitimately liking Carrie,
Yeah,
like
he's
romantically.
starting to like notice that she's like not that bad looking, and like she has like intelligence and a personality, and she makes jokes and stuff.
Yeah, and it's a little thicker in the movie because they actually let them kiss in the movie, which was
Spacek is a beautiful woman.
Yeah, and I just yes.
Yeah.
But also was very disappointed in Tommy in that moment because I don't know had they all lived if Tommy would have left Sue over this. I don't know, but they definitely Stephen King does this thing where he writes their inner thoughts just in parentheses, in the, like no special text, no quotations, and just every once in a while there'll be a big text break.
Yeah.
And then Tommy's, a lot of his was just saying Carrie, Carrie, Carrie over again, where he was definitely thinking thoughts of her, but then I couldn't figure out if that was like her
Yeah,
pull from her.
She's starting to be able to read people's minds.
Do you think she was manipulating his
I
thoughts?
don't know.
That's where I was trying to figure out if that feeling toward her very suddenly and surprisingly was just like that's what happens when
it could be interpreted also that maybe she's manipulating everyone. Maybe that's why they win the election. That's why so many people vote for her and Tommy. Like Tommy's very popular. Carrie White is not.
Yeah.
Maybe just her being in a good mood with her telepathy that she's starting to develop along with her telekinesis is manipulating everyone, you know.
And rightfully in the book, the ballots had Sue's name on it that they had to cross out and put Carrie.
Yeah.
In the movie, Carrie was already printed out. I'm like, who's running and reprinting this stuff tonight when they realize that he's showed up with her?
Mimeograph machine, your hand cranking.
Anyway, so that's I was a little fuzzy on whether. Like what I thought would happen with Tommy and Carrie and Sue, like after prom, like how that would. I think he would.
We never find out.
But we never get to find out for reasons. But I was because they seemed so enamored with each other, Sue and Tommy in the book. It was a lot. Their relationship was a lot more loving in the.
And there's also a thing in the book where Sue has not had her period, and we're getting. She mentions a few times in the book where she's late. And
in that moment is not getting her period, not in general.
Yeah.
Like her and Carrie are doing the Spider-Man thing, pointing at each other. Not that thing. Okay, I get it.
So yeah, that's kind of in the background for Sue also, but she hasn't told Tommy about that or anything.
See, that could have been, if there could have been a sequel in a second story, just the fallout of just the three of them could have, but you know what? What a convenient way to not have to write a sequel, right? So anyway, prom, homecoming happens.
Prom coming.
Prom coming. So they win. They walk up on stage. You know, the music happens.
The
band plays. Everything goes to plan.
And Chris and Billy are outside with their ropes waiting to hear the song that they know is going to play when the prom king and queen get up there.
Yes. So two things immediately happen. Or almost immediately happen. So they pull the thing. The blood comes down. So in the book, it's 2 buckets. They both get dropped on, I think. And I was nervous with the movie with the 1 bucket and how. So what happens is the first bucket falls. Carrie starts to go into her mode. Second bucket, still mostly full, hits Tommy in the head and kills him.
Yeah.
And in the movie, because there was just the 1 bucket, they kind of left it, they were able to pull it so it tilted and all the blood came out, but then they did that. So the prom scene in the movie made the movie twice as long as it was.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like half the movie was just that scene of the drop and then the...
That's how they made it a horror movie.
Yes.
Because my argument is Carrie is not a horror book. This is a psychological drama. You could see it as a sci-fi. It's not horror. There's only, to me, really one horrific thing in this book, and it hasn't happened yet. We'll get to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean...
So yeah, Brian De Palma, when he wants to turn this into an actual horror film, you need 30 minutes of Carrie one by one killing all these people, you know, with her mind in here. And you get the awesome split shot of you're seeing her from a front shot on one end, and you're getting on the other side, you know, the fire starting, the hose coming out and kill, you know, all the creative ways she's using her mind now that she's fully embraced her powers to kill her classmates. And in the movie, everyone's laughing at her.
Yes.
Everyone is even the principal's laughing at her.
Yeah, that was a big thing, is that her mom was like, they're all going to laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at
Which
you.
is responsible for Adam Sandler's first comedy CD from 1993 called They're All Gonna Laugh at You.
Now
which
I get
loved when I was 12 years old. It was made specifically for me. Which has the sketch called They're All Gonna Laugh at You, which is just Adam Sandler doing his best Piper Laurie impression.
Nice.
Just going, they're all gonna laugh at you over and over again.
So anyway, so that was, you know...
But in the book, they're laughing out of shock. You know, he describes it as somebody laughs, but it's almost just like a, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, oh,
and Carrie just snaps. Like, she goes into just like a state of just complete, like, shock. And she leaves.
Yeah, she
gets tripped by someone, and she falls down, and she just crawls out of the gym.
Yeah, it's so more distressing. Yeah, they really bring back the precariousness of her popularity in that moment. Like it was beautiful when it was prom, and like the lights and everything was beautiful, but then as soon as they snapped out of that fantasy of prom,
she's just right back to that girl on the floor of the shower, being pelted by those maxi pads again.
Yeah, so she...
Shout out to Maxi Pads, sponsor the episode.
Sure, fresh sanitary pads. Our generic sponsor, thank you.
So she gets outside the door. She locks all the doors with her mind.
Which I love. Like, if you're going to just deal with a whole bunch of people all at one time, trap them in the gym.
But she doesn't... I don't think she wants to kill them. She just wants to hurt them back. And so she sets her mind to the sprinklers, the fire suppression system, and she just wants to turn them on. She wants to embarrass them the way she feels embarrassed.
Yes.
And so she starts the sprinklers, but because it's the 70s and nobody knows how to wire things correctly, which if you live in a house that was built in the 70s, you know this.
Yes.
Fires start happening. The speakers... for the band, I think, start the first fire. Because they're using old tube amps. And,
they talk about
things.
People touching things and doing the crazy dance or whatever they called it when they were getting electrocuted.
in the book, I would say she is guilty of nothing more than manslaughter, which is negligent homicide, meaning that she performed an action that a reasonable human being should have known could have led to death, but she didn't have the intention of causing death.
Cody's also a lawyer.
In the movie, she wants to kill people.
Yes.
She is on a murder spree.
Yes, which starts from the stage. Yeah. She just already...
She stays in the gym. She is killing in the gym. She is making eye contact with people as she is killing them.
Yes.
Because again, you have to make it a horror movie. And having a girl stand looking through the window is not nearly as scary as face. Like floating, she's now floating. She's basically the Scarlet Witch in the movie. She goes full on Wanda Maximoff. Just, this and this and just shaking her head, and people are flying here and there.
Yes.
She's slamming the bleachers shut on them.
But I love the moment in the book, too, where she does leave, and somebody's like, Carrie's coming back. And that's when it sets off they just think that it's over or whatever, and then somebody just spots her, and they're like, she's coming back.
And then we lose Carrie's perspective for the next, 50 pages. And we start just getting different townspeople who we have not met at all.
No!
We get, the drunk guy, who I love, who, when he knows he's too drunk, he checks himself into jail.
Yeah.
He just goes to the jail, and he's like, hey, guys, I gotta sleep one off, or I'm gonna do some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And the jail's like, come on in, we got your cell ready for you. And he's in the jail, and he describes, just hearing, not hearing, just feeling in his mind that something isn't right. And he, opens his own jail cell door, goes outside, looks for the sheriff, looks for the deputy, no one's there, comes outside, and the investigator or whoever he's testifying to, they're like, who do you see? And he goes, oh, it's Carrie White. And they're like, how did you know that? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like a series of interviews. They talk to the gas station guy. They talk to all these people, and they're like, I can feel it, and it's Carrie White.
I knew it was her. I've never met her before. I've never seen her before, but I know it was Carrie White. Like, she is now just like emanating her mind to everyone around her like a radio tower. And she's just connecting with every mind around her.
Yes. And so beautifully in the movie, I did really like the fire was so cool. And then like when she walked through the gym and then the doors open to outside and you just see the fire in the background and she emerges from that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In the book, she continues this spree and she's slowly making her way home, but as she's walking around the town, she's stopping at gas stations, getting into the gas somehow, starting and setting off fires at all the gas stations. So all of these explosions are starting to happen around town as she's slowly making her way home. And that's
she's
how
also opening every fire hydrant she sees.
Yes.
And losing all the water. So there's no water to put out the fires.
Yeah, the pressure is gone.
Intentionally destroying the town as she goes through it.
Yeah, so she's slowly making her way home. And then Sue is like, where did Carrie go? And she kind of follows the trail of destruction behind her. And so in the book, Carrie gets home first before the rest of the fallout happens. And she sees
her mom's waiting for her.
Yeah, her mom's waiting for her. So it's like final boss level is mom. And so this whole time that Carrie was at prom, I imagine that mom was like self-mutilating because she whenever she was really upset, she was always hitting herself or pulling her hair, and then she got a knife.
Yeah.
And started brandishing her knife around her house. And so when Carrie came back through the door, she had the knife ready, I presume. I can't remember exactly.
Because Carrie comes in and says, Mama, you were right. They laughed at me. Look at me. And Mama goes to give her the hug. And when they hug, that's when Mama stabs her through the shoulder into her back.
Yeah. And so in the book, Carrie senses that that's happening and she's able to move a little bit. And that's why it hits her in the shoulder instead of in the back.
Kill her, yeah.
And so she, in the book then, is like murders her mom.
She kills her by slowing down her heart. And
she
telling her mom, do you feel that, Mom? It's slower, and slower, and now your heart has stopped.
Yeah, so she gives her mom a heart attack, essentially. So not super exciting to watch, I'm sure. So in the movie, in the original movie, she starts to crumble the house, and she dies with her mom.
Brings the house down upon both of them.
Yes, but because there's some things out of order, there's a lot more that has already happened in the movie that still has yet to happen in the book. So in the book, so Stephen King loves to put a knife in a character and then let them keep fighting, is what I'm learning.
That is the big thing.
So Carrie murders...
It's like a ticking clock.
Yeah, so Carrie murders her mom, has a knife coming out of her shoulder, and leaves the house. And she goes down the street, and that's
into
where
the woods, because it's a shortcut.
Right. And she goes to
the Chamberlain, the hotel, bar, roadhouse, where Billy and Chris have gone to, because as soon as they saw like this fire and stuff, they're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's right. That's forgot.
We're going to get blamed for this.
Yeah, so some people got out of the gym fire and stuff. Like
there was like a back door that didn't get, that Carrie forgot to shut when she was locking all the doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she goes and she finds them, and then they get in the...
They get into his hot rod.
Yeah, so as the building is doing its building thing, they get in the car, they go down the street, and then there's that kind of iconic scene of her standing in the road, though in the book she's got the knife coming out of her shoulder, but in the, so the hot rod's driving right toward her, and then she's able to use her telekinesis to run the car off the road. Cool movie flips.
Yeah.
And then they just burn, and then the car explodes, and they're gone. And so, so everybody, and so that's when Sue finally finds her.
Yeah, Sue's been tracking Carrie like a hunting dog,
following the blood.
She can also censor her mind. Like she's also picking up this radio signal that Carrie's putting out. Mm-hmm. And so she gets there, and Chris is dead, Billy's dead, Carrie's kind of laying in the ground. Sue thinks that Carrie's dead, but then like she like kicks her with her foot or something, and Carrie's up, and Carrie instantly like is in Sue's mind, and she's gonna kill Sue also because she thinks that Sue was in on this plan and everything. And Sue's like, no, look into my like head. You can see my intentions were true. And they like link their minds together. Carrie does this thing where like they're both able to see into each other's minds completely. And it reminds me of, there's a thing in It that I think they did in the movie also called the Ritual of Chud, which is how the only way you can fight the real form of it is, they describe it as mentally you have to bite onto each other's tongues at the same time. Which is a physical impossibility, but that's how the Ritual of Chud is performed.
I see.
And to me, that's kind of the same thing that Carrie does here with Sue. And so they're completely linked mentally, and Carrie sees that, no, Sue actually was trying to help her. Sue wasn't involved in this. And so Carrie doesn't kill Sue, but Carrie is dying. And she stays connected to Sue there as she's dying, and Sue feels Carrie die.
Yeah.
And feels the moment of her death, and feels even beyond as Carrie is dead, and understands what it is to die. And to me, that's the only truly horror in this book.
Yes.
Because later we get Sue talking about in her book, basically she's just now walking around waiting to experience death again.
Yes.
Now, she's done it once. She knows what happens.
Yes.
Like, what a horrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I wish the movie would have.
And like, you can't film that, obviously.
Yeah.
There's no way to do that, but
at least Carrie could have had a knife sticking out of her.
So in the 2013 version of the movie, Carrie kills Billy and Chris in the street, flips the car over, holds it in the air again, very Wanda Maximoff, goes home, fights Mama, and then she does the stones. They do the stones at the end of the movie. They don't show them at the beginning. And Sue arrives there and tries to save Carrie, tries to pull her out of the house before the stones kill her. And Carrie says, no, it's too late for me, touches Sue and says, it's going to be a girl.
Oh!
And that's the end of the movie.
Huh.
Whereas in the 1976 version, we get this afterward scene where Sue's at the house now, where the house has been completely leveled. They've like bulldozed over it, put stones down over it. There's like a cross in the road, or a cross in it, where someone has like spray painted Carrie White burns in hell. And Sue puts like roses down there, and a hand shoots up out of the rocks and grabs her. And then she screams and she wakes up and she's in bed and she's still screaming. And that's the final shot of the movie.
Yeah, her mom, that's her mom in real life too.
Mom, yeah.
Yeah. And then in the book, there's an epilogue that it kind of ties, because they talk a little bit about lineage of women who have telekinesis. It's always the woman that it manifests in. Yeah. But it could be passed down through other types of people, men, whatever.
The men are latent carriers. Like if they have the gene, they don't show the symptoms, but they can pass it on.
Yeah. And so the epilogue just kind of leaves the little pebble that there's other people with telekinesis.
So Wanda writing a letter to like her sister about how like her little 4-year-old daughter, she does the cutest things. You know, sometimes I come back and things aren't where they were, and I think I saw her like dolly floating in the air. Kind of reminds me of grandma used to do those weird things. Remember that? Ha ha ha. Anyways.
Yeah. Yep. And then they just kind of leave it fade to black or whatever on that idea. So that's kind of the synopsis, the run through, and it was.
So we talked last time about how Stephen King hates Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. He loves Brian De Palma's Carrie.
Yes.
He has said that he actually likes the ending to the movie better than the ending to the book he wrote. Which I think is crazy, because I love the ending to Carrie the book.
Yes.
I think it's the best part of the book, as I just explained. It's the only part that actually scares me.
Yeah, it was a really good. I'm happy with them both. Like I liked them both for different reasons.
The movie is very 70s. You know, if you were shocked by the one scene of boobs in The Shining, what did you think about the opening shower scene of Carrie?
Yeah,
which features like 20, probably 25-year-old women playing high schoolers, fully nude.
Yes. And I'm like, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's all.
Sissy Spacek, fully nude, cried in the shower. Like, it's a 70s movie. It's very of its element, of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had to turn it into a horror movie, so they make a lot of changes. That's why you get so much of her playing with her powers throughout the whole movie. That's why you get such an extended death scene at the prom and everything. But it's a classic movie. A lot of people love Carrie the movie. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's like top 10 films of all time. He always talks about it.
So we know the shadow exploded. So the interstitial kind of the frame of the stuff in the future that's talking about the events of Carrie. There was The Shadow Exploded, which was just like the book that talks about telekinesis and like Carrie's specific arc, I think, and people with telekinesis. And then there was the testimony from this trial, and I'm trying to remember who was suing what for what.
Honestly, it just feels to me like a congressional hearing would be like today. Like they're just trying to find someone to blame. Because the town gets destroyed, and they talk about how like no one wants to rebuild. Like everyone's just moving. Everyone's just leaving. There's no one's building their stores back up. The town's just going to be gone. And so Congress, it became a national story, and so they're having these hearings to just kind of be like, who's responsible for this?
Right.
And so that's why you get Sue Snell testifying here and being like, look, if you want to blame someone, you can blame me, but it was just girls being girls that led to all of this, and Carrie White did this.
Yeah. And what was what did they say
I don't
what
think
they
you ever
did?
any sort of conclusion to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that struck out to me, this being his first novel, there are seeds in here, I think, of future books already I started to see as I was reading through this. And it reminded me of a lot of when I started doing stand-up comedy. I don't know, were you at the first Anarchy Funtime show in 2017? The Anarchy Funtime show, for those people who don't know, who aren't part of the Kansas City comedy community, it's a monthly sketch comedy show we do at the Bird Comedy Theater. I'm the co-head writer, co-director for it. Jill's been a former cast member, hopefully future cast member. And it started in 2017 as more of a variety show where there would be stand-up, there would be sketch comedy, there would be music. And it's the first time I ever did stand-up comedy. I'd been doing improv at that point for like 2 years. And
you're like, I hate collaborating.
Yeah. Well, in improv, one of the main things they tell you is don't try to be funny, right? You're one of the best improv coaches in Kansas City. I'm sure you say this all the time. Don't try to be funny. Just go out there, collaborate, listen.
No, I tell people to actually be funny.
Okay.
There is no try. There's either do or don't. No, just kidding. I'm interrupting.
And after a while of doing improv, I realized I just wanted to be funny.
Right.
So a lot of people, when they first time to do stand-up, they're like, I did not do good. I kind of bombed. The things I thought were funny, the audience reacted to. Yeah. I crushed the first time I did stand-up. Like the only note I got was like I talked over the laughs I was getting. I was getting so many laughs. And the reason that is because I had spent like the last 2 years, I realized, just doing stand-up to my friends as conversation. Like anytime I would be going to like a party or a place where I knew I was going to be seeing people, I would plan conversations I wanted to have ahead of time and just force people to have them. Which is sociopath behavior, which is what makes people a good comedian, Now I'm in a place where I can just have regular conversations with my friends instead, which is nice. But yeah, and so my stand-up that I did, I had been preparing it. I realized for a long time, not even knowing that's what I was doing. And I think I see the same thing with Stephen King here, where he's like working on other stories in here, not even knowing it. Like, obviously, Carrie as a youth with telekinetic powers, that's the theme that Stephen King comes back to over and over again. We see that in The Shining. We'll see that if we read Firestarter. In fact, his big universe of the Dark Tower is built upon the idea that there are these children who have this power that he calls breakers, which Danny's a breaker, Carrie would be a breaker, who are being abducted by these villains and their powers being used to tear down the Dark Tower, essentially.
Yeah, gotcha.
Billy and his hot rod. The way he talks about his car a couple of times in there, it leads to Christine directly.
I'm like, is she a hot rod
too?
Yeah,
absolutely. The end of it, the town kind of destroying itself. We see that come up in a lot of books, like in
Needful Things.
The
one that I've read, that town falls in on itself.
So I think Stephen King, and the thing is, when I started doing stand-up, as soon as I started doing it, I was writing like 5 minutes every week. I just had so many ideas that just it was like opening a water spout, where things were just pouring out of me. That doesn't happen anymore. Now that I've been doing it for 9 years, I'm lucky if I can write 5 minutes of stand-up in a month. But he was so prolific when he first
So now
started.
you have to do stand-up under a pen name so you can release different kinds of comedy now? Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about, both of us read the foreword by Margaret Atwood.
Yes.
This is the 50th anniversary. This book came out 50 years ago. And the only reason he wrote Carrie is because his wife made him.
Yeah.
He started writing it as a short story because he was only writing short stories. He was publishing them in the men's magazines for guys to read after they jerked off. And he envisioned this as just a short story, and he wrote like 3 pages of it, and he hated it, and he crumpled it up and he threw it away.
Yeah.
And then Tabby, his wife, found it, read it, and she's like, "What happens next?" And he's like, I don't know. She's like, "Write it." And he wrote Carrie basically because his wife wanted to read it.
Yeah.
And he hated it. He didn't like it. And she was like, "No, this is good. Submit this somewhere." And he's like, "Fine." And he sent it in, and they bought it. And they paid him like $1,500 for it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough money for him to quit teaching, but Tabitha was working at like Dunkin' Donuts. But it was enough for it to get published.
Yeah.
And then it got bought to be made into a movie. And then it got picked up to do a paperback, and then he got paid like $200,000. And that is what allowed him to quit teaching and become a full-time writer.
Yeah.
And allowed him to start writing novels. Without Carrie, there is no Stephen King. Without Tabitha King, there is no Stephen King.
I know. Successful men. You gotta look for those caring wives.
And the thing is, they've been married for 55 years, and they've had some tumultuous times. He's talked about it. As we talked about last time, he's an addict. He's gone through every kind of addiction you can find, and luckily the thing he settled on was writing. But most of them, they've had a pretty happy marriage, although they were poor a lot of the early years. Almost none of his books are about happy marriages.
Yeah, no.
I was looking through the list of novels, and I could only find one where the main character is in a happy marriage where the wife does not die before the end of the book. And that is The Dark Half.
Yeah.
And The Dark Half is a book about a writer whose alter ego, whose nom de plume, literally comes to life and tries to kill him. Which is the most autobiographical thing. It's like his addiction's coming to life trying to kill him.
Okay, that
and his wife is his only support. It's like the most autobiographical book he could write about. And every other book, though, either the wife is supportive and dies, or has already been dead, or like in The Shining, the husband's a monster to his wife.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those books are like his way of apologizing to his wife for the way he is as a husband.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So God bless Tabitha King. Otherwise, we would have no Stephen King.
Yeah. Other trivia thing that I noticed or saw when I was watching is that this was also the first movie that first horror film that had Academy Award nominations, which was not a thing that they offered to horror movies usually.
Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie both got nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actress. Piper Laurie did not realize this was a horror movie when she was filming it. She thought it was like a black comedy.
Oh.
She thought the character she was playing was so over the top. The way that Brandon Hall was asking her to play it, that she's like, this can't be a horror movie. This is a comedy. Like, this character isn't serious.
Yeah.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
Which, the one big thing that we haven't really talked about yet was how she did end up getting killed in the movie, which was creating what was it? So I don't think effigy is the right word, but they had the replica. So they had the Saint Sebastian in
It's the crucifix,
The crucifix,
with
yes.
the creepiest little guy on it with the eyes that glow in the dark.
Yes. So they did allegory. I can't think of the device, the word for that device.
We don't have those in my church.
But
we just have Jesus.
Yeah. So she crucified her mom. It was essentially what happened. So instead of giving her a heart attack in the movie to make it more visual, I assume, is that she used her telekinesis to take sharp kitchen utensils.
All the weapons in the kitchen.
Yeah, to fling and stab her mom, and she pinned her 2 hands to the doorway first, and then did a pattern of knives stabbing her that modeled after the crucifix statue that was in her closet that she had to.
Or a butterfly on a.
Well, When they talked about the movie, when I was reading or watching the documentary about the movie, they were trying to replicate that weird little creepy statue thing.
That statue was so. I kept waiting for it to come to life. It looks like it's gonna just like turn its head and be like, "Hey, Carrie."
Yeah, and Piper was very specifically like wanted to be gleeful as she was dying, like she was finally getting that salvation her death is glorious to her in the movie, and that's a little bit more fucked up to me than it was.
Let's take a quick break and we'll review our final thoughts.
Yeah, sounds good. So
we're back.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts. The articles, the liturgical method in this book and also in The Shining is something Stephen King does do a lot in his early writings. I think part of it is he's trying to seem smarter than he needs to, because he's a young man, he's a young writer. It's something he moves away from pretty soon.
Okay.
Something he stops relying on. I think
so there are 1,000 pages of just the story at that point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he starts realizing he can just spin a long yarn without needing to pad things out with extra stuff. So prepare for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carrie's just it's barely a novel. I think he originally was just going to do it as a novella, which novellas are kind of the taint of books. It taint a short story and it taint a novel. He published a book of novellas called Different Seasons, which is where The Shawshank Redemption comes from, which is where Stand By Me, which is published as The Body, comes from, which is where Apt Pupil, which is a movie about a former Nazi guard who gets discovered by a teenage boy who starts forcing him to tell him stories about being a Nazi guard, and they form a very weird pseudo-sexual relationship, comes from.
Okay.
And then there's a story called The Breathing Method, and that's a book that I hope we will get to at some point this year because it's one of my favorites. Okay. They're all, Apt Pupil's the only one of those that I would describe as actual horror. The three of those are more just dramas. Yeah. But yeah, Carrie lays the groundwork for everything, so I'm very glad we did this book.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that it almost didn't happen. Like that was surprising to me. I'm always affected by religious trauma when I hear it because it's so prevalent in our world, like the things that people do because of the trauma of the church and things like that. And so I'm very aware and affected by those things. Yeah. And so I'm glad there was stuff to break up all of that tension, because between the bullying and the abuse of the mom and everything like that, it was very tense. So it was nice to...
Stephen King, I would say, takes a rather dim view of religion in general. It's rare that you'll find a positive religious figure. We're reading Salem's Lot next, so spoilers. Oh. There's a prominent religious figure in that book that we will discuss next time, how we feel about him.
Cool. So yeah, so if you're having fun and you want to keep along with us for book club, we are doing Salem's Lot next. And
you can watch the most recent adaptation on HBO Max, starring Lewis Pullman, or you can watch the ABC miniseries from the 90s is out there also. Yeah, but starring Rob Lowe.
Ooh, I had a crush on Rob Lowe back in the day. I don't even think I knew who he was. I think I saw his milk ad, the Got Milk ad, and I'm like, well, he looks like a handsome man. Because that's how I would talk when I was 16. He was a real nice looking guy. Yeah.
Rob Lowe, a man who survived a very public sexual scandal.
Yeah. I don't have the posters anymore.
All that and more next week, next month on Dead Wives and Kids with Knives.
Yay! Bye!
Dead Wives and Kids with Knives is produced by Cody Lindenberger, Jill Gillespie, and Manasharc Productions. Filmed and recorded by Sadie Till and Marcus Leacox.